Hello and welcome back. In the last episode, we explored how energy moves through our system and how that flow is connected to so many of the things we want most out of life. Health, vitality, motivation, joy, fulfillment, and so much more. We also touched on something very important, and that is when energy gets trapped in old patterns of fear, contraction, and conditioning, we stay identified with that smaller, survival-based version of ourselves. Anytime we're struggling, this is often exactly what's happening. So if we want to feel our best, we have to learn how to allow more energy to flow through our system. So how do we do that? Well, let's start here. Most people think they're tired, depleted, or low in energy because they simply don't have enough of it. Maybe they think the root of the problem is a lack of sleep, poor nutrition, or not enough exercise. Of course, proper sleep, good nutrition, and movement can all support our energy. Those things are important and matter. But some people still feel drained even when they're taking relatively good care of their body. So why is that? Well, the energetic framework I've been describing gives us a very big clue. It helps us understand the flow of energy we're either allowing or blocking. The truth is, we are constantly connected to an infinite supply of energy. In fact, at the deepest level, we are that field of energy. But we've forgotten this. And because we've forgotten this, well, many of us have developed some habits, some beliefs, some patterns that constantly block, scatter, and drain our energy. So no matter how much we sleep, we exercise, we eat mindfully, we caffeinate, we may still struggle with our level of physical and mental energy. So the question is, what's really happening to cause this constant energy drain? Well, this reminds me of something funny that happened a few years ago when I was homeschooling my kids. One morning, my little daughter woke up. She was only 8 years old at the time. And she felt really tired and really not in a mood to do her math. So she was lying on the couch with her blanket, telling me just how exhausted she was and she couldn't do math. And instead of fighting her, I simply asked her, I said, "Oh, are you too tired to play Minecraft for 30 minutes? Now, we never offered this option to the kids on homeschooling days usually, but this was an experiment. So as I proposed this, her eyes lit up, she beamed with excitement, she smiled, she jumped off the couch, and she was ready to play Minecraft. And I said, "What happened? All of a sudden you don't look so tired." So I laughed. Well, I wanted her to see that her energy had radically changed because her inner state had changed. She had shifted so quickly from resistance to enthusiasm, from this heaviness to excitement, from "I can't" to "I'm ready." And what created that shift was 100% her attitude. Now, what is an attitude? Well, it's the way we're framing something internally with our thoughts. So anyway, I let her play Minecraft for a little bit, and then we got back to math without this big struggle. And that moment stayed with me because it showed me something really, really clearly. And it showed her as well. And that is that sometimes we don't have as little energy as we think we do. Sometimes our energy is simply trapped in resistance. So what's happening in our body when this kind of energy loss becomes constant? Well, as we explored last time, this life force energy is meant to move through the body, ground into the earth, and then rise back up through the heart in a toroidal pattern and move out through the top of our head. Now that energy circulates throughout our whole system through our energy centers or chakras. But here is the problem for most of us. Because we've forgotten who or what we truly are, which is this flowing field of living energy or consciousness itself, we've identified almost completely with our mind and our body. And what happens when we identify only with the mind, body, and personality is that we tend to live from this survival-based programming. One thing we have to understand is that our energy goes where we put our focus and attention. Energy flows where attention goes, right? You've heard that saying. And as you may have noticed, almost everything around us is designed to capture our attention and consequently our energy. But we have to be in charge in here. We got to be the boss, all right? Now, there are two main categories where our attention and energy tend to go. Number one, fears, and number two, desires. Fears include all the things we don't like, we try to avoid, we worry about, we resist, we deny, we fix or control. Desires include all the things we need or think we need because we believe they will make us feel better on some level. And this is where so much energy gets drained. We have to remember that when we're identified only with our mind and body and our personality, we can become very, very easily hypnotized by this movie we're temporarily playing in, right? We forget that we're actors in a sense. We forget that our thoughts and emotions are a tiny, tiny fraction of that field of energy that we are. And because of that, enormous amounts of energy get spent resisting life or trying to control it. We don't like what others are saying or what they're doing. We don't like the way we're feeling. We want to make it stop. We want to change it. We believe we need to chase things, fix things, achieve things, or avoid things to feel better. We think we have to struggle constantly, protect ourselves, and survive. Many of us live in the state of restlessness without even realizing it. I hope you're beginning to see how much energy all this constant struggling actually takes. So, if we want more energy, we need to start observing where our attention goes during the day. How much of it goes toward avoiding fears? How much of it goes toward fulfilling desires? How much mental energy goes into worrying, resisting, rehearsing, controlling, comparing, wanting, or trying to make life different than it actually is? Now, this isn't about judging ourselves. It's about becoming radically honest and aware. Because once we begin to see where our energy is constantly going, we can begin to reclaim it. The problem with fears and desires is that they're usually fueled by the false assumptions that we are not enough as we are, that we are not whole and complete within ourselves, and that we need to acquire something externally to feel okay, or we need to do something out there to feel safe in here. But this does not work. It keeps us caught in the same cycle of chasing, resisting, and trying to control. And energetically, that constant struggle will block the natural flow trying to move through our system. Now, this energy gets mostly stuck in the lower part of the body, especially around the lower three energy centers, inner belly area. This can be like a dam at the solar plexus level, stopping the flow of a mighty river. The energy is there, the river is there, but the flow is blocked, right? And when that energy can't move freely back up through our system, that's when we stay in survival mode. We get completely stuck in self-protection. We perceive ourselves as separate from the whole. We believe that if we don't struggle, push, and control, well, something terrible might happen. And because we block our own energy, we stay focused on our limited human story. We forget that life takes care of life, that flowers grow without worrying about the weather, that our body naturally knows how to heal itself in ways our mind could never fully manage, and that this life force that we are is always flowing through us like a mighty river when we allow it, when we stay open, and when we don't create internal dams or blockages. All right, so you're probably beginning to understand that there are two main ways to increase the flow of energy in your system. First, bring in more energy through your breath, and also through movement. Gentle practices like Tai Chi or Qigong can be really, really good for increasing that flow of energy in your body. Second, release the blockages by doing inner work. And we're going to get into that in future videos. But for now, let's focus on the first step. All right, let's get out of our heads and back into the body by taking a nice, big, deep belly breath, expanding our bellies. Ready? Good. Try and keep your shoulders low and relaxed. Let's do that one more time. Excellent. Doesn't that feel good? The breath is so much more important than most of us realize. On the most basic physical level, it brings oxygen into our body, which nourishes our cells and supports life itself. But it also does something more subtle. It helps regulate the nervous system. It brings our awareness back into our body. And on the energetic level, well, it increases that flow of life force energy through our system. So if we want more energy, more peace, and more presence, we really have to learn how to breathe in a way that truly nourishes us. This has to become a habit, not shallow breathing, stress breathing, the kind of breathing we do when we're in survival mode, but conscious, deep, slow, intentional breathing. One helpful way to work with the breath is to imagine a central channel running through the core of your body like a big fire hose. So it's coming in from above your head, down through the center of your body, deep into your core, and out into the earth. You can practice breathing downward through the central channel, and you can also reverse it by practicing breathing upward through it. Why? Because this movement follows the natural flow of energy through the system. And the breath is one of the most direct ways we bring more energy into our body. The more you breathe consciously, the more energy you begin to experience. Simple, right? Okay, let's take another deep breath. This time on the inhale, imagine your breath coming in from above your head, down through the center of your body. And as you exhale, imagine that breath flowing into the earth below you. Try that. Good, now we're going to reverse it. So imagine inhaling up from the earth through your body and exhale out through the top of your head. Nice. So I encourage you to keep practicing this central channel breathing this week and try to become more aware of this fire hose inside that allows energy to pour in and move through you. As you breathe with more awareness, you're bringing more life and energy into that central channel. And the more open that channel becomes, the more your whole system can regulate, soften, and naturally come back into balance. So remember, your breath is not just air, it is fuel, it is medicine. It is a bridge between your human self and your eternal energetic nature. Next time, we'll explore the emotional chain reaction that causes so much energy to get trapped in fear, resistance, and old emotional patterns. I would love to hear from you in the comments, and as always, you can find me at consciousliving-solutions.com. And all my books are available on Amazon and Ingram Spark. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Have a good week, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Peace.